Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific. Wow. Okay. Viewers, I know I've talked about this before, but we got to revisit this again because, as my video channel states, it's kind of a running diary of life in general. Yesterday, I was driving my bus with a load of students, and I witnessed such moronic behavior that I thought I've got to talk about this. And you wish that the people who are doing this moronic behavior would hear it. Of course, they won't. And you wish that this video and what I'm talking about would be heard by the idiots that engage in this behavior would see this. I want to talk about Denver cyclists, bicyclists. You know, the women that aren't ladies that ride bicycles, the men that wear all that weird, Lance Armstrong wear in the helmet, and they act like they're possessed when they get on a bicycle. The laws in Colorado state that cyclists must follow the same rules as cars do. That is laughable. I have not seen one cyclist in all the years I've been driving follow the same traffic laws. Number one, they don't stop at stop signs and red lights. They just run them. And yesterday I watched two cyclists, one guy, one woman, old enough to know better. They were not kids. Go down a street, 2 lanes, one way, parked cars on the right. They do not have a bicycle lane. And vehicles cannot get around them. And of course, when they cross an intersection, instead of indenting to let a big vehicle pass them, they just rigidly hold to their whatever. And I'm going to say something about this. If a bicyclist cannot go the posted speed limit, they need to get out of the way. They want us to share the road. And they don't share the road. They hold up the road. And I watched for over the space of a mile. I'd get in the left lane just to get around these clowns. I'd get back over. And then I'd get down 2 blocks, stop at a red light. And I'm like, oh, here come these idiots again. I'd hug the right side and get my bus as close to the parked car as I can without, getting in danger of hitting their mirrors or anything. And these idiots shoot right through there. There is this much room on either side of their handlebars, and they just boom, run the red lights, get ahead of traffic, then traffic can't get around them, and now they're holding up 20 cars. Then I watched this idiot woman get up on the sidewalk, run the red light, then she turns left in front of us, and then goes down, and then cuts off a pedestrian who had the right of way, makes a right turn, and makes a left. Running red lights, not yielding to traffic, not yielding to pedestrians, and I sit there and go, where are the police? And this you see every day. They're called bike Nazis, the idiots that are going to save the planet. And I'm going to say something. I have never met a nice cyclist yet. They will pull out right in front of me and ride right in the center of the lane, see the bus. They have no regard that I'm on a schedule, no regard that they're blocking traffic. They don't care. You want to talk about the biggest sense of entitlement, Denver cyclists think they have it. You go downtown into downtown Denver, they're up on the sidewalk, they're in the street, they run red lights, they cut off pedestrians, they'll turn left in front of oncoming traffic and get in everybody's way. And what really bothers me is there's signs all over the place, not in the city itself, not in the downtown, but it says share the road. They're supposed to stop and make a complete stop at a stop sign. They're supposed to stop and stay stopped at a red light. They don't. So I have a proposal. And if I knew somebody who was in politics, I'd say, you need to make this a law. That in order to ride a cyclist on Denver streets, you must have a license plate. And it will be big enough so that we can read it and see it and report it. That they must register their bicycle just like we register a car, and they must also carry insurance on their bicycle because they do hit people and they do hit cars. I've seen it happen right in front of me. Cyclist ran a red light, car hit it, cyclist flew up over the hood, gets up, dusts himself off, and rides off. I'm sorry, but I really think a lot of these cyclists are possessed. If you go from Boulder, Colorado up to Lyons, they've got a 6-foot+ wide shoulder. Sometimes it's only 4 feet wide. And they are not inside the right of the white line. They're right on top of the white line. So you got semi-trucks and commercial vehicles. And they will ride right there. And what I do is I go, you know what? I'm going to hold my lane, and if my mirror is that far from them, oh well. And then you'll see them shaking their fist and going like this. And I'm like, you got 6 feet of width, no gravel, it's nice and dry, and you cannot center yourself over there. And I've told people at work, these guys have a death wish. And now the Colorado law is such that these morons can ride up in the mountains. There is no shoulder. You're coming around a hairpin turn, and here comes 3 geeks on a bike, women, men, riding 3 wide, and we can't pass them unless we have a full lane of traffic to get around them. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. And I had a group on the bus one day, and these idiots are riding. They don't move over. And I thought, isn't that funny now? If I'm in the bus or in my truck and I'm going under the posted speed limit, and there's 3 or more cars behind me, I have to legally pull over and let them go by. The cyclists don't. So I advocate they do need to follow the same rules. Excuse me. They do need to follow the same rules. They should be required to have a license and pay their fair share of taxes. And if they're not going to go the posted speed limit on a road, they need to be all the way over to the right. And instead of holding up traffic when there's 3 or more cars that cannot get around them, they need to pull over and let us go by. But instead, they're so selfish that they got to jerk off up there, hold up all the traffic because they're entitled. And I want to know why it is that adults my age and older, and even younger than me, cannot follow the traffic laws. Why they engage in behavior like this. And you'll hear them use their same old argument. Well, cars cut us off and cars aren't very nice. The reason people in Denver aren't nice to cyclists is everybody I've talked to said those guys are a-holes. They're weaving in and out. They'll pass me on the left, get right in front of my bus, and then they'll stop there at a traffic light. And I want to just lay on that horn. But I can't. I have to be the professional, and I will honk at them if they're in the wrong. They'll run my stop sign with kids crossing. Cyclists are retarded and don't realize you're supposed to stop, because if there was a cop, he could pull you over and ticket you. And here's what I advocate. Cyclists should be required to have a license plate, register and insure their bicycles, and pay the same penalties that we pay to have a vehicle on the road. They should follow the traffic laws, and if they don't get caught by the police should be able to take the bicycle, impound it, say, well, today you're going to walk, and in order to get your bike back, you will be ordered to go to court on this date, and you will pay a fine, and then you get your bicycle. I guarantee you they'd clean up their act real quick. I don't like Denver cyclists. They're idiots. Everyone I've seen, they're not adults that set an example. They don't follow the laws. And those of you that may be listening that do, I'm sorry, I never see you. All I see are the turd balls out there that get on bikes. And every so often you hear about one of them getting hit, and you just go, yep, and I'll bet you the cyclist was at fault. The other thing that bothers me is I'm making a right turn. They are way behind me. I stop to yield to a car. I've got my right turn signal going, and here comes an idiot on a bike. Zoom! You do not have the right to pass on the right, bonehead. Read your traffic laws. I'm sitting there with a turn signal going. You need to stop behind me. You need to wait until I turn. You don't have a right to go through. Pacific is going to state very boldly, Denver cyclists are arseholes. They are brain damaged. They are retarded. There's something wrong with them. They have a death wish. They think that they have all the rights in the world, but they don't have to yield to any traffic laws or sanity, and it just shocks me. And I know that the Denver police are busy, but boy, I'd like to see them ticket these guys, take away their bike, and stick it to them. I personally believe that cyclists should not be allowed in heavy traffic areas at all. Where there are no bike lanes, they should not be allowed to ride. I believe that cars and bicycles do not mix. China's getting rid of their bikes, and the U.S. is suddenly wanting everybody to bicycle to work. It's like, you know what? It doesn't work. And what bothers me is the cyclists have this mean, vicious mentality. I have been on bicycle paths. I've been all the way to the right walking with a girlfriend. And she and I were down by the Platte River, and they will go as fast as they can, as close as they are, and they want to play macho on that bike and make a statement. And I'm like, wow, these guys are idiots. She goes, oh, I feel threatened by them. I said, you know what? We're not walking this path anymore, because I said, if I continue to walk it, I tell you, I'm tempted to carry a knife stuck out on my side. And when they get too close, he goes, Hsh! These people are nuts. And they do. They really make you angry. And every motorist I've talked to says, I hate the cyclists in Denver. And I told you all, when I was in Spokane, I was on a country road going to a park. And it does say share the road. And there were two, dykes on bikes, blocking the whole road, taking their sweet time. They did not look like ladies and did not look nice. They had all the gear on. And I finally get an opportunity to pass, and I step on it, didn't speed, moved to the left, gave them ample room, went to pass them, and they both go like this to me in my rearview mirror. And I'm like, now what the heck was that for? They were mad because I passed them. It's like, I'm sorry, ladies, I'm not going to play your dumb little control game. You're going, 3 miles an hour up a hill, and I'm stuck, and I'm going to drive for 3 miles behind you like that? I don't think so. Shoot, in my truck or bus, people pass me if I'm going the speed limit. I think cyclists are arrogant. I think that they're bike Nazis the way they are, and yet the hypocrisy of these people is off the charts. There's nothing more that needs to be said. Cyclists, you need to follow the rules. You need to set an example, and when you're doing that, you're just ticking people off, and you're idiots. I can't respect you when you're doing that. I have more respect for a cyclist that's following the traffic laws, and I am more willing to, how do I say this? I am more willing to accommodate them when they do that, even though they're still in the way. But when I see that stuff, when I rode my bicycle in Duluth, I actually stopped at red lights. It was all the way to the road, it's right of the road. I took up as little lane as possible, and when I had a wide spot to pull over and let a bunch of cars go by, I did. And I noticed something in liberal Duluth, Minnesota, that those people respected me. I would stop at a traffic light. When I was safe, I would signal with my left hand, get in the left lane, and I noticed cars yielded to me and respected me as I waited my turn to make a turn with my hand out. Cyclists don't use their hands. They just cut off traffic and drive like a bunch of boneheads. So, I wish the legislature would get smart and say, if you want to ride your bicycle, you will register it, you will pay insurance, because you're hitting people and you need to have insurance. Because I'll tell you what, I've heard stories of some of these bike Nazis plowing into a pedestrian, and the pedestrian, who's still okay, has got up and beat the stuff out of him. And I'm sorry, rightfully so. I'll tell you, some of these cyclists, I want to see them get hit the way they're acting. It's like, oh, I'd love to see a car just, when he runs that red light, just boom. It's like, then I'll stop and get out and say, wow, looks like you had that coming. I bet you'll finally learn a lesson now, right? I don't know, man. There's something wrong with Denver cyclists. They get on a bike and they're insane. I've said enough. I can't stand these guys. They're not worthy of my respect. They're rude. They're riding illegal, and they don't respect us motorists, and they don't have enough common sense. Why are you arguing with school buses and semi-trucks? You see the guy's right turn signal on, he's negotiating a turn, and you speed through there on the right? You're an idiot. There's no other word for you. You're a lawless piece of trash on a bike. But you're saving the planet. Okay, you go, boys. Only in Denver. This is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.